This episode brought to you by Crossplay. It's 2020, and we finally have the technology.
This is HOTDROP, where we bring you premier gaming analysis and drops with a fancy English accent. And I'm Charlie McNeil.
And I'm Dano.
We waiting on John, or am I doing it now? Well, I'm Cody.
And I was waiting for my cue. I'm John. What a shit show. Jesus Christ. All right. We stream Monday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/the_HOTDROP. Discord link and hotline number in the show notes. Hit these up to share your thoughts with us. Our topics for today include some retrospective with Charlie the McNeil, going through some COD and talking about hardcore versus core.
And let's get into it.
Let's. I've been awake for an hour.
20 minutes.
3 hours.
Great. It's 5 in the evening. I've been awake for ages.
Charlie, you start.
Maybe we should start with who's Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Charlie, who are you?
That makes sense. Intro.
So I'm Charlie McNeil. I historically was an avid console Xbox gamer. Played a lot of different Call of Duty games historically, and then moved over to PUBG, where I played Xbox for 2,200 hours, and then eventually got tempted to get into a PC gaming, and I'm recently, probably for the last 4 months, been solely playing computer games on PC.
Yeah, so you tried the server side, like cloud gaming stuff. That kind of pulled you into it initially, right?
Yeah, exactly. I tried a subscription-based gaming PC account where you run a virtual machine, and it was pretty good. There was obviously some latency, so it was a little bit laggy. It didn't feel quite so good, but it was. I did it for probably tens of hours just to check that I didn't hate keyboard and mouse, and then I decided to make the jump. So I'd been tempted by it ever since Destiny 2 was coming out, not cross-platform, but across the platforms. And everyone was saying how good it would be on PC, and you could use a controller with it, and that he changed the sort of the gameplay depending on your input method. And so I got very tempted then, fell off Destiny 2, went into PUBG, and then this was the jump over to PC gaming.
Nice. So what was the first game that you played on PC? Like full on PC, keyboard and mouse? No streaming service. PUBG was the one?
Yep.
Nice.
2.5 or 3 years into the game's life cycle. So it was a pretty brutal experience.
I was going to say, how angry were you for your first 20 hours of gameplay?
I went from being pretty good with like 2,000-ish hours on console and lots of wins, and pretty competent player, to being an absolute potato. It was horrific. I spent a lot of time looking at the floor and then at my keyboard trying to work out what buttons to press, how to open doors, how to pick stuff up.
And that's the thing. A lot of people didn't get past that hump. Like, I know some people in our community tried to move over to PC, played with the keyboard and mouse, hated it, realized I'm way better and having way more fun on the controller. I don't really want to make the switch.
At first, when I was playing video games, when I started playing PUBG on the mouse and keyboard, which, if anybody remembers, was my very first computer game, I could have sworn like mouse and keyboard was going to be 10 times easier than controllers, and I was very, very wrong. But also, I thought I'll just go back to console and I'll be better. I was worse at the Xbox version, way worse.
I was so bad at it,
and I'm not good at the game.
I think the mouse and keyboard kind of makes sense, separating those inputs. And some people, I actually showed someone the Call of Duty Black Ops Nazi Zombie mode back at my old job back when I was in DC. And they had such a hard time with the different axes on the different thumbsticks. That was like a very hard thing to wrap their mind around. Whereas I feel like when you get mouse and keyboard, you kind of know how a mouse works, so you can kind of imagine it. There's less like spinning in place Not that
That's
there's
true.
not like looking at the floor, but I feel like I guess because it's a common thing that we use already. It's not like we use a controller to control, like a gaming controller to control like a PC or something normally. That's not a normal input method for most people.
That's true. Do you know anyone who's ever used the inverted axis?
I use inverted
Really? What
Really?
is
y-axis.
is that just second nature to you? Because I've tried it before, and especially in games where you can fly or drive vehicles or whatever, it's the worst.
Yeah, I think
Flying
it came
games are like inverted.
Yeah, I think I started off playing a flying game at the very, very beginning. So I think because I did that, it then meant that was what I got used to. I think it was one of the Foxfire. I can't remember. It was back on the old consoles.
Oh, Star
So
Fox?
yes, possibly. Yeah, where you flew out of the machine, like the big spaceship at the beginning, and then I don't know. It was one of those. I played it inverted, and ever since that, I can't play any other way.
I have nightmares about inverted controllers. that really shitty N64 Superman game.
Oh
Does
god,
anyone remember
no,
that?
that
No,
game
I
was
played
just
it.
the worst.
It was terrible.
No.
That's not. Don't blame that on inverted. That was just the worst game.
I wake up and I'm like, fly through the rings, asshole!
We rented it one time, and my dad was so excited for all of us to play it, and we all hated it so
Oh,
fast.
no.
It's so bad. It was so
the
bad.
worst.
I played a lot of flying games, the TIE Fighter series, TIE Fighter,
Yeah.
X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, X-Wing Alliance.
Yeah,
But I played all of those with a joystick. So
Mhm.
I guess that was inverted because I would pull back on the joystick and I would go up.
Mhm.
So that makes
I
sense in my head.
So you're pushing it up. But yeah, but I don't know. It doesn't work for other people. I'm also dyslexic, so that might play into it. I
Mm,
don't know.
you're just making it worse.
Yeah, we're not sure.
Yeah, for me, like I know a lot of people have like kind of a controller scheme that they like for different games that kind of makes sense for them. For me, every game has its own spot in my mind, and so I get used to the controls for that game with that. So like if a game starts me out inverted and it's like third person or whatever, then I'll just like that's how the game plays and my brain will map that out fine. If I play a game that's kind of similar, like if I'm playing two like third person games, then that fucks me up. I will get the controls messed up.
I found that to be pretty difficult because when I started to play on the Xbox for PUBG, I hated the controller layout compared to what I use for like Assassin's Creed. But I also found that I don't like playing Assassin's Creed on the PC. It's a game that's very much a sit on the couch and play and not PC
Yeah.
game. And so it was hard for me to adapt different controller styles to two different games at once. And so I think from now on, I'll just stick to one game per platform.
Yeah, I tend to like third person with a controller, and I have an Xbox 360 controller that I can just plug in and use. And I like mouse and keyboard for first person and / everything else. But I know PUBG we played a lot of third person, but the accuracy of the ADS aiming, I really needed to be on mouse and keyboard for that.
Do you think when we
Yeah.
go back and play PUBG soon, eventually, that we'll play
Keep
first or
teasing it.
third person?
First.
I thought so.
Really?
I thought you'd say that.
First, yeah.
Why is that?
It doesn't bother me as much now for whatever reason. And maybe it's like the better graphics or the higher frame rate. I don't really know, but I don't think I can go back to such a fast-paced game with such high stakes and play it in third person anymore.
Yeah.
See, I'm the opposite. I might, if I was to play it, prefer playing third person. I try to force myself to play first person because that's what PC players play. And I play a lot of first person shooters now. But PUBG and Battle Royales for me, I think, because that was my first Battle Royale game and I put so
Yeah.
much time into it.
Mhm.
I don't like the Black Ops one that came out last year or the year before. Didn't
Ops
like
4.
that in first person. Don't like the idea. I mean, we'll see with the new COD. Hopefully there'll be a battle royale with that. Obviously there's lots of rumors, but they haven't set a date. Because that's so smooth in first person. Maybe I could do it, but PUBG in first person, I just didn't get on with. It was clunky.
I didn't like it very much. And you're a short person. You're like
Yeah.
Yeah,
taller than
yeah.
5'5".
Yeah.
And so like you'll walk, or not even like 4'5". You're like walking up to a door and the knob is at your eyes.
Yeah.
What is this, 17th century England?
That's the thing. It doesn't make sense. I don't know why they haven't fixed that. It doesn't, like, the whole scale of all of the chairs and the vehicles, everything is just off. And no other game is like that. And they can fix it. I don't know why they don't. So That's a struggle for me too. We've talked about it at length here on the podcast as well. But
I bet it's like one of those structural revamp problems that's like, it's definitely a nice to have, but it would be such a hassle to untangle the code to get to that.
yeah,
It would
The
probably mess up
radiation
all
has
of
just
the
made people
angles as
short.
well that they
Yeah, the
spent a
angle.
lot of time working on, and then
Mhm.
by adding half a foot, all your peaks are different, all your angles are different.
yeah. It probably comes with making a third-person game first and then retrofitting first into it.
Yeah.
How the field of view is and how you aim down sights, all that stuff, where the bullet comes from out of the gun and how that is in relation to your height, all that stuff. Yeah.
Totally.
But anyway, so back on track here. So Call of Duty is what we're into nowadays. I think we've kind of been captured by the low stakes, grindy game that is Call of Duty right now, which is pretty
The grind
fun.
has got me.
The grind
I
has
like the
got it. You
grind.
got to get those gold skins, man. You have to. You got to unlock them. So we have started playing that. We're enjoying it. Charlie is a longtime Xboxer. You've been playing for a lot of years, all of the different Call of Duty versions. How do you feel that this one ranks compared to the other ones in the past?
I think this is definitely the best one of the generation, so of the Xbox One generation, so from whatever 2012, definitely the best one since then. And I think even back to I came in at the end of Modern Warfare 1, so the original Modern Warfare COD 4, which obviously a lot of people think is the best one ever. I enjoyed Modern Warfare 2 more because I played a lot more of it, but I would argue this is as good as that. I genuinely think this is the best COD for years.
So what makes it good?
that?
Yeah.
I think I really didn't enjoy the double jumping, the wall running, and sort of what I consider sort of cheap plays quite often. That kind of, I felt for years COD tried to, I suppose, make it playable for everyone. So I think they more and more made the skill gap bigger in the middle so that everyone was kind of on a level playing field. And I think this one, in some ways, has brought it back to with boots on the ground, a sort of common sort of statement. I think it brings back that sort of skill and peaks and angles a little bit. And I just didn't like all of the weird and wonderful spacey stuff. Didn't enjoy any of that.
So
I
you're
can't
saying-
get on board with those kind of it's not a gimmick, but gimmick for lack of a better term is like saying like, let's add a new thing. We have to add a new thing. What are we going to change this to?
Escalation.
Yeah, instead of just saying, here are the guns and maps. Because if they keep coming out with maps, that's awesome. Honestly, adapting to the maps is the coolest part about this game.
Yeah, 100%. I think some of the issues probably stem from like Activision's sort of, I don't know, their philosophy. They have to release a game every single year. So if you have to release a game every year, you can't make the same Modern Warfare game every year because people will just get, bored, annoyed that they have to buy it again if all you're doing is changing maps.
I don't know. Madden does it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
Madden's fairly niche, isn't it? From what I understand.
Yeah.
But you're basically saying that it's more skill-based that is interesting to you. Like the realism part of it, the skill of just knowing how your weapons work versus, learning how to do a gimmicky move like a wall run or something like that.
I think it's probably not more skill. I don't know. I think the skill bit for me is I think they got the time to kill really good on this. I think it's quick but not so. We'll go on to it in a bit, but I play core a lot, and I think it's quick but not too quick, and I think that means you have the ability to turn people if you're quick and have a better shot, but at the same time they don't sponge loads of bullets and just run around a corner and then you get team killed as soon as you come around it or something.
I guess it's interesting that sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to flesh out my question a little better. It's kind of like what we're saying is we don't want them to keep making the same game over and over again, but at the same time we want a realistic game with mechanics that are basically tried and true rather than having them try something new every time they put out a new title. Does that make sense? So we want games that are more realistic, things that we understand, not gimmicky. And so we're saying we want them to stick with that formula over and over. That
would be my preference, especially for the harder core that want to play it quite a lot. By all means, I think the gimmicks sort of help freshen it up. So you could chuck in even like once every few years, make a gimmicky one just so that it breaks the trend. Okay, I might not like it, but I've only got to not play it for a year. But and then the other bit is, or do stupid modes, like do a low gravity mode, or something stupid. I don't know, but do something stupid, but keep the core game like realistic, good gunplay,
Predictable, I guess.
Predictable, yeah, predictable. That you're not going to feel cheaped out. Someone got a cheap shot. You could argue shotguns, but you're not going to feel you got a cheap kill or something like that.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. I mean, I didn't do a great job fleshing out my question, but we got there in the end, I think.
I think that that's actually something that PUBG did pretty well, is when they had the event modes rolling for that like 6 months or whatever, where they were doing a new one every couple of weeks. That was a really fun way to keep people involved while still having like the core game unaffected.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there could be like a sandbox limited time version, something exciting, something that doesn't fit in the regular game mode that you can test and try out to keep it spicy.
One of the things I find interesting between old Call of Duties and the newest one, and this is just, it's hard for me to tell exactly, but the maps feel much different. Like they put on some old original COD 4 maps that they revamped for this new game, and they feel so much different than like newer versions, like newer maps that were created for the game.
Can you give us an example?
Yeah, well, like Vacant and Crash are like, right? Those are like COD 4 maps or older game maps, and they feel much different than like I don't know if Gunrunner from this game, like Gunrunner or Ramaza.
I agree. Yeah, I think that those are, well, first of all, they're bigger. The new maps are bigger, a little bit more complex in terms of you can't anticipate where everyone's going to be. I think on Vacant, you can assume the lanes that people are taking to get to point B or through point B to the others, which changes your gameplay a little bit. In Arkloff Peak or Grozna Raid, whatever, those, I mean, that's unpredictable. You can sort of guess where people are, but there are 3 lanes to every point, sort of like a tower defense a little bit, but they also have different levels too. Whereas Vacant has 1 level. You kind of go up a little bit of stairs, I guess, but there's 3 lanes no matter what. The other ones have an inside upstairs, inside downstairs, outside down the middle.
The thing I find interesting about Crash is there's not so much verticality in other levels. Well, there is, but it's kind of like segmented. Like if you compare it to like Ramaza, like when you go up those stairs in Ramaza, kind of like by the B point in Domination, like you can only see a small section of that upper area. It's like the bridge in that side building. But when you go up to the top of Crash, like that is an Overwatch peak. You can see like almost half the map from there.
That's not as vulnerable as it needs to be, I think. That 3rd story fenced in area.
Yeah.
You can pretty much hang up there all day if you can protect the stairs behind you.
Yeah, I've seen people drop tactical inserts there too, and so they die and just respawn back up there, and it's that's not my favorite part of it. I like Crash, but I think they could change a bit there to make it not
Crash is an old map, right?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Yeah,
I don't.
It was an old map, but it is a weird one because the lane. So historically, the COD maps always seem to have the 3 lanes. That was their sort of tried and tested system. They kept it. Then they mixed it up for a bit, and it made it a bit more unpredictable. And you couldn't like spawn camp, and you couldn't sort of tactically just stick at a point. And I think that's why some people felt it lost some of its feelings. So it's quite interesting to hear you guys say that you think it's more laney now than the old CODs you played.
I think that the lanes are established, but they've added complexity to the lanes.
And verticality. I think the biggest difference for me is verticality.
I would agree, with the exception of
Crash is weird.
Grozna. I think that all of them have a certain kind of verticality to it. I think Grozna has, or Gunrunner has virtually none. It's the mine shaft. It's down the middle over the water, and it's the storage containers.
Yeah, it's only when you get inside.
Yeah, it's when you get inside those lanes that there's stuff to do. Whereas, like, if you take a look at Vacant, you're just kind of going around tiny corners. There isn't actually a lot of complexity to those. You can see clear through. If you get inside by B point in Vacant, you can see straight through to A. I mean, there's a trailer blocking A, but you can see straight through.
How did they change those maps from the old versions? I know they added on to them, right?
Yeah, but I think they're just changed because of you can go to areas that you ever so slightly couldn't before. So I think they just increased the angles. So you've got that sort of that tiny little. It's got a tree in it. It's a little bit of a like a courtyardy bit that you can snipe up at the 3 stack. So that wasn't there before. I think they've just added a little bit more cover as well, and like a few more peaks and angles. But I don't think they've changed it a huge amount either. You can still, capping B, you still lie down on the side of the helicopter right at the edge. Hope no one sees you or grenades you too much. The 3 stack is still the same. You used to be able to run around that the top of the 3 stack completely, whereas now I'm not sure you can.
You can't run all the way around it. No, it's like short-sighted.
So people used to tactical insert behind that and then claymore the hell out of the door and stuff, but there's less of that.
It's interesting because they have to make all of these maps viable for all the game modes, which is weird.
That's tough, and that's probably why people don't like maps. If they prefer a game mode, that map, they might hate that map. But it's because I think I talked to Matt Von Doom about this. Is they hate that map, but that map might be great for search and destroy, but just horrible for team deathmatch.
Yeah.
And if I play search and destroy and he plays team deathmatch, primarily, then we're going to have a very different opinion of that map.
Yeah.
I can't get on board with team deathmatch. It's not fun, and it's not really team based.
No,
it's not team based. No. It's you're playing your own game and hoping the rest of your teammates are as good as you.
I think it used to be better, and also I think maybe we've kind of changed what we like in games. Just rushing a point or camping a corner isn't as fun now as objective-based games.
Yeah, that's very accurate. We've only put on the objective-based modes now. It's just not fun to get kills. Like it's fun to get kills, obviously, but like it's not the objective style.
It's not satisfying.
It's not satisfying. Yeah, like I need to work together towards a goal. And that's not only about killing things.
Now that I wish they had a hardcore hard point, because that might be my favorite one.
I do like hardpoint.
But Domination's pretty damn close, and I like that a lot too.
Yeah.
I hate Domination when it is the only game that comes up when we
over and over.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
Because I want to play it, but I don't want that to be the only thing that I'm doing.
Yeah, someone else mentioned the filters. They feel they definitely prefer a type. I think Kill Confirmed, someone was saying that if you had that on your selection, you pretty much, it was the only one you seemed to get.
Or like if you catch one, all of a sudden you will get 5 in a row.
Yeah, that's weird.
And that it gets a little tiresome. But if you have the whole list on, half of those aren't very fun.
I normally set the one I want, and then when we say it'll be search and destroy, and we play 5 games of that, and it will get, you'll get a bit fed up of having to play tactically, and then go play something where you can just run around and try and get kill streaks and stuff, and then go back. So normally set what I want to play more so.
Do you have a favorite map?
Favorite map? It depends on game mode, probably. I don't think I do have a favourite map. I like Shoot House for madness and kills. I've got my highest kill streak there. So I like Shoot House for that.
I like the angles in Shoot House.
What was your highest kill streak?
I think it's a 22 or something, 21 or 22. But I thought a nuke was 25, so I might have got more if I didn't panic and camp so much. Liam dropped to 24 yesterday, which is the highest on my friends list, I think. And again, we thought it was 25, and have since Googled to find out it's 30.
Oof.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of like they make it that hard to get because that is a crazy reward.
I think I've only seen 3 in game, and two of them were in ground war, so people just sitting in tanks, using them. And then one was we came in just as the game had basically ended. We filled spaces as they got nuked, so I don't know how they got it.
I've never seen one.
Whereas compared to like the old Modern Warfare 2, I think the highest kill, I got 2 nukes in a game on that because your kill streak kills counted towards your nuke. So Predator, Harrier, gunship, Predator, gunship, and I think it was like a 98 kill game, and I killed myself with a nuke. Whereas you couldn't do that on this. This is harder.
I feel like our
I've
conversation...
never seen it go off.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I just said I've never seen one. I've never seen it used.
Neither have I.
Whereas it used to be commonplace, and you would know where they were. So if I saw someone was going for it, and I saw the Harriers go up, I'd always try and get 5 kills, or 4 kills, whatever it was, for a Predator missile, and try and figure out where they were, so that I could kill them off it. Whereas like now, it doesn't really happen.
That's super cool. I'd like to see one happen. I just don't want to die to it.
Yeah, preferably my team.
Yeah, the problem is the gameplay that you had to be in for it to happen means your team were getting absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
I have a question about older tactics versus newer. Like, I see a lot of people in this game jump peeking corners with like SMGs or high ADS weapons to get a lot of kills or high kill streaks. It seems to be very like the people who get the high kill streaks tend to be aggressive. Is that true to older CODs as well?
Yeah, I think so. I think you still got... Yeah, so jumping corners and sliding corners has always been pretty big. You couldn't always slide.
Yeah.
So people would do drop shotting a lot. Rather than slide a corner, as soon as you started shooting, they'd drop shot. And I think also on a controller, it's a much more... I drop shotted a lot more on controller than I do on PC, whereas on PC I tend to jump. I don't know why. I think it's because you can jump and your bullets go up to the head. Whereas, I don't know, drop shotting used to be so quick, it didn't really affect your shooting. It just made you a smaller target. But I think that's always been a tactic, and you still see it a lot. Normally, if I'm in a lobby with a load of console players, I see a lot more drop shotting, and then if I'm in a lobby with a load of PC players, I see a lot more jump shooting. I don't know why. Maybe it's...
I wonder if it's just the button configuration that just makes it easier to drop than to jump or something like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people use this. It's called tactical, which is a controller setup on Xbox or on console, which is you click the right thumbstick and you lie down, so you're already aiming with it, and you don't have to press any other buttons. Whereas to press A to do a jump shot means moving your thumb off your aim.
Yeah.
So whereas on obviously mouse and keyboard, it's 2 different hands. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people jumping around corners, but it doesn't seem like it's that effective. It seems like it slows you down. Drop shotting is more annoying to me. I don't know what you guys think.
If you know someone's there and you jump shot round a corner and you're pre-firing or you start shooting first, then it's effective because you kill them, but you're throwing their aim out because you're jumping and they're shooting your legs, whereas you might be shooting down on them. So more likely to be upper body and head.
I guess that's also because we play hardcore. Like,
yeah, and
very effective up close. If you're jumping through someone's like point of line of sight up close, it's way better than like if they're kind of backed up. It depends on the angle they're holding, but I've been doing it a little bit, and it has helped some to get some shitty kills.
Well, I think if you come around and drop shot, your head goes through their mid mass. So like if they're spraying at your torso, their head goes down through it. Whereas if you're jumping around, you're probably saving a few of the damage point because they're hitting your legs.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know.
I also find that like the first time I saw someone drop shot in this mode, I just like killed them immediately. Like I just tracked them as they fell down to the ground. I was like, why are you doing that? But I have seen some people who are more effective at it, like just catching you off guard and doing it so that you don't really get a target.
Yeah, I think up close or at a big distance, it it has its place. But when someone's sort of mid-range, I think if they try and drop shot you, you normally hit them in the head as they go down.
Yeah.
So we got to talk core versus hardcore. I'm itching to have this conversation.
Hardcore.
Hardcore kill confirmed.
Cool.
What do we think about it? Because you are very much a core player. We are very much hardcore players. What do you like and don't like about hardcore?
I really like hardcore for getting my guns gold. And I like hardcore when I'm not got any attachments on stuff. But no, I do like hardcore. I like the really fast time to kill. I like that it can be super aggressive in many ways. But I don't like that you can't turn on someone and kill them often, because quite often a lot of guns are one-shot kill. Like a foul or something like that is a one-shot kill. An AK to the head is one, maybe two to bodies. The time to kill is so quick that I feel that you lose some of the skill and reaction that you could in core, where you could win a fight by being a better player, that I'm not sure you get in hardcore necessarily.
Yeah, it's something that would be covered by sound normally, but there's so much sound going on in one of these maps, like with VTOLs or just random shooting or grenades going off or whatever, that you might not notice someone coming around behind you just based on a spawn flip or something that one of your teammates might not have called out, that you could get killed out really easily in hardcore, whereas in core, like Charlie said, you could flip and actually turn the tables on them if you're better. I like that point of view for that.
Same.
Is there a game mode that you like better for core or hardcore, or is it just like golding the guns you like hardcore and that's it?
I think I like core more than hardcore, but then weirdly I didn't used to. On other CODs I didn't feel they had the time to kill right necessarily, and I feel some of them were more spongy, and that I didn't enjoy as much. So other CODs I did play on hardcore, but this one, because it's got a well balanced time to kill in core, I prefer it. But I think that's all it is, just personal preference. I just think that the time to kill is right in core on this one. Whereas where I've thought it's been a bit, so some of the Black Ops ones were a little bit spongy sometimes, and then I would quite often go to hardcore. I'd play core originally, probably for the first 2 months of the game, and then go over to hardcore.
When we played Black Ops 4 last year, I felt that it was the spongiest of sponges to ever sponge spongies.
Yes, 100%. I agree.
You could empty like half a clip into somebody and they'd still be up.
Yeah.
We have a clip on our Twitch of you on that elevator shaft, Dan, coming around and just unloading on this dude, and he was still alive.
Yeah. It's the armor bonuses as well.
Oh, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was so difficult.
Yeah.
This seems more like the older CODs. Like I remember Modern Warfare 2. It seemed like it was pretty fast then as well, but it could have just been like I was used to Halo, basically.
Yeah. Over shields. Do you think the lack of a HUD makes any difference at all?
I don't use the HUD anyway.
I don't think it matters.
I think you can get pretty used to the feel of it and it not matter. The only thing that I don't do well is use my field upgrades. That's the only HUD card
Constantly
that
forget about that.
You have to hear the sound, and if you miss the sound, you're like, oh shit, yeah, I have a field upgrade. My bad.
See, I'm dead silence, and I constantly press X. I pretty much have that message saying it's not ready for 2/3 of the game. I'm just constantly smashing it.
I have a major issue with the field upgrade glitches that they have going on right now. Anyway,
dead silence specifically, or
no. Hey Dan, you want to hit that button for me, bud?
You know it, fam.
I'd really like to talk about how dumb as hell that is.
Dumb as hell.
You're so dumb. Really dumb. For real. Dumb as hell.
I want it to count. I have been trying forever to get my goddamn ribbon challenges. Do you know how long it takes to load up one of those recon drones? Forever, people. If I hit it and I'm marking bitches for my friends so they can kill them, and I'm hanging out up there and I don't get that ribbon, ooh, you best know I'm going to hurt somebody. I'm good.
I haven't got
dumb
that
as hell.
Yet.
I was going to say, you haven't said it.
I have not got that far yet. I'm
It's
still
terrible.
working on my low-level ribbons.
Because dead silence is very useful. stopping power is very useful. Trophy systems are great in hardpoint. But when you use the recon drone, it's only like slightly helpful when you're using a hardcore mode, right?
Mm-hmm.
Generally speaking, people are running around, they know where people are going to go. But when you need to get the ribbon challenge and you're trying to mark everybody and it doesn't count for you, no one's ever going to use the recon drone. It's the most useless one you can have if it doesn't count, which it's not counting right now.
I barely look at my map, and even when UAVs go up, I barely look at my thing in the top
I use
left.
the map a lot.
I don't know why. It's bad. I just have no habit for that.
But it tells you even if they're not coming up on it, it tells you where they probably are coming up.
I know.
The spawns. So I use it constantly. I love it. Weirdly though, on this one, so on the old ones, if you didn't have a suppressor on a gun and you shot the gun, you'd appear on the radar no matter what, unless you're running apart. Whereas on this, you don't. So they have changed that. So UAVs become a bit more usable, and it also means not everyone runs a silencer. But so it's a bit annoying that you can't see those people. But I use the radar constantly.
I don't think I've ever used a silencer.
I was going to say the same thing. There's no reason to. You need that slot for
use
something
the
better.
monolithic. It's got increased damage range and damage something else.
Oh, okay.
And it doesn't negatively impact like some of the other stuff.
I bet you a lot of these upgrades to your weapons would work better in core versus hardcore because it's like two shots to kill.
100%.
It's one or two no matter what.
100%.
No,
I kind of want to go back to core for a little bit.
Well, core, I feel like the classes they're different again, like a bigger differentiator in core because up close and personal with SMG isn't quite as good at medium to long range. It's still good, but in hardcore you can hit someone cross map with a SMG and kill them in 2 or 3. Whereas in core it would be 5 or 6.
Yeah, I have an easier time getting my mounted long shot kills with the MP7 than I did with the FAL in hardcore, just because you can spray and eventually I'll correct and hit somebody in the face.
I think this applies to our talk about the ARs not really doing a great job. At least that was my opinion in the last episode, saying ARs, I would never use them in hardcore because SMGs are just so much better, and I don't have to worry about the fact that I can't hit someone from far away with an SMG. I just can spritz them down, and it's simple. I don't need the AR
really,
for that.
really hard to rank up through the first AR that I did. I did the Kilo. First of all, slow as hell to hold an AR going from any SMG, but the distance for long shot is longer.
Yeah.
So you can't. It's harder to get the different objectives. But SMGs, I'm cruising
on AR
through.
as well. I don't know, but normally the long shots I've done it way before I've done the mounted and crouch kills. They're normally my last. But I did the AK yesterday or the day before, and long shots and mounted kills were my 2 last ones. I've never had long shots still be it. So I wonder if assault rifles, depending on the AR as well, might have an impact.
Yeah, mounted kills, now that I'm being forced to do them, have become sort of second nature to hold any higher angle. I'll mount before I come across. And I found that for the first 2 guns that I did, it mounted and reload were my last ones. And then I realized it's easier to get mounted out of the way because you're teaching yourself to hold better angles.
It seemed to me mounted would be a better reward, I guess. It seems like I can still very easily see and shoot people who are mounted. I would have thought it would hide your body a little better. It's a great thing. I agree. Yeah, it just seems like I thought it would be a little more helpful. But it's good for steadying your aim, obviously.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't see a benefit really with mounted kills because I feel I'm still exposed, like you just said. I still feel like 40 to 60, mounted on a side. I feel like 60% ish of me still seen, and then mounted. I suppose when you mount horizontally, your head's a little bit lower, maybe.
Yes, it is. Yep.
But yeah, I still struggle to do it. I still don't enjoy it.
Yeah, it's the most annoying thing you have to do to rank up those skins.
For that.
That's what I do it on.
Shoot house.
Yep.
I always just post up in just whatever corner. I'll just grab any corner. It doesn't matter if I die. I'll quick and shoot out.
I feel like Shoot House is never one that I crouch at, or I mount at, because I feel like people always get me immediately. So I just literally run around. I throw a Semtex or something around whatever corner, and then I go to the next angle and just never stop moving on that map.
My issue with it is the spawn flip. I'm constantly getting shot in the back. It's really frustrating.
Well, to be fair, you have me and Cody on your team.
Yeah, that's true.
Big and true. Yeah.
If it
And you're playing
shoots,
hardcore,
or
so
if
you
it moves, I shoot.
You can't watch the radar to see how far your team are pushing up.
Yeah, that's true.
Because again, in core, I've got a pretty good idea of almost exactly where the make-believe line is of when it will flip if none of my team are behind me.
Yeah. And if your team isn't talking about what they're doing as they're doing it, you have no clue whatsoever. And I feel like that's when we lose the most, is when we're not saying what we are doing. If you have two people on a team,
is brutal for that. Someone pushes it, it flips the spawn.
Oh, yeah.
They spawn behind you and cap behind. But as they're doing that, you panic and run there. It flips it again because you kill them, and they all rush to B. And the amount of times we lost a game earlier, 198 to 200, because of our random on our teammate against a full clan. Liam turned his Xbox off. Our random on our team pushed the spawn, flipped it, and they capped 2 off it, and we lost by 2 points.
I think I can get caught up in the craziness of hardcore because the kills are just happening so fast that I don't think to say, hey guys, I need someone with me to cap this, because one alone is not going to do anything for you.
Yeah.
There could be more strategy in core. And that one thing you said has stuck with me this entire conversation. The fact that I can't turn and get a kill on someone who has the drop on me, because then I'm already dead in hardcore.
Yeah.
Time to kill is just so fast. And there's more strategy involved, I think, and potentially more skill that you could flex on people.
Yeah.
Really
I think that's the biggest standout for me. The reason, and also, I think in some of the spongier games, so if the time to kill is too high, you can't 1v2, and you definitely can't 1v3 at people. Whereas in the current one on core, you can still, if you shoot heads and shoot quick, you can still 1v2. And I think that's, for me, that's why I like core on this one, is I feel I can outgun. I'm not constantly terrified. Whereas on Black Ops or anything like that, if it was a 1v2 or 1v3, then you knew you were losing. Like, unless they couldn't hit a barn door, there was no way you'd have to reload, and you were definitely dead.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what I like about this game, is it gives you kind of like in it feels a little bit like Counter-Strike, where you have that chance, if you are good, to be able to wipe a team.
Yeah.
Like in hardcore, it's not as difficult to wipe a team, because you can just like have a good jump on them, especially on some of the point-based maps. You can kind of just appear and just run through a team. But in core, I think you're right. Like, I found it was very advantageous for me, my accuracy. Like, I was hitting heads and getting people killed before I was dropping below like half HP. So I was able to, like, it kind of started my run and gun style just because of my decent accuracy. Because I was able to run around the map and kill a bunch of people in a row, and made me feel really good about the game.
And stims serve a purpose in core.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't really use them.
Yeah. Yeah, you can showcase your skill for sure. Interesting.
Yeah.
I think we have to go back and play some core just a little bit
I'm
to
down.
see if we like it still. Hardpoint.
Yeah, I do love Hardpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it sucks that not all game modes are available across both.
Yeah, I'm
modes.
surprised they don't do it. They must realize it, or feel it's too unbalanced.
It must be fucking bonkers on hardcore, because there are already like 40 kill games on hardpoint, like when we were playing that.
That was the end of that thought?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Well, anything else we want to cover? I feel like this has been an awesome conversation so far.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. And I mean, we did all
The only other thing I can think of is crossplay. I don't know if you want to
yes.
touch on that.
I don't find that there's a major difference between the quality of players.
Not at all.
No.
There are some really talented console players out there.
I mean, I'm not about to compliment the man, but Bedford isn't a total shitbag. He plays console all the time.
He is still a total shitbag. He's just good at the game.
He's just good.
Oh
at the
yeah,
game.
yeah. In terms of the game, he's not a total shitbag.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's really well balanced. I think the level of aim assist they've put on gives, because obviously it's a harder input. You know, it's why like a game like PUBG couldn't work,
Right.
in its current format. But the level of aim assist they've put, I'm almost more worried when I see a completely stacked team of console players that are top level than a PC team at top level. And yeah, let's stick with that.
I
But
like
yeah,
it. I
sorry,
like when you get to a point after the reset when people start to match up better. Because I don't necessarily want to just go in and dominate. I really enjoy the close games because people start to focus on objectives more. And when you have an even balance between console and PC, I feel like the games are always closer than it is when you're heavily stacked one way or another.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think, I think when you see fully stacked of either team, I'm actually, I think it's a bit of a shame. I quite like it when it's mixed up. But then obviously the skill-based matchmaking on this game, which is there is arguments it's cranked up too high. So if you win a load of games and you're in a good skill team, like Jammy won't play with us. My brother doesn't like playing with us when we're in a stacked team, just because he says he goes from being the top of the leaderboard to like 2 kills at the bottom. So I think there's some of that as well. So the reset's great because you can go dominate, and I think it gives you a better mix of players. But I'm more worried when I see a stacked team of console, which I never thought. And if I'm in a stacked team of PC, I can still win it, bearing in mind that I've only played PC for 5 months. So I don't know. I think the balance is good. I like it. I think they've absolutely nailed crossplay, and I think it was such a delicate thing to get right, because if they messed it up, then everyone would have been whinging about like mouse and keyboard advantage or console aim assist, and takes no skill, and people start, when they lose to people, they think that they're at a disadvantage and they get grumpy about it.
And other games would shy away from crossplay.
Yeah, right.
And we've made so much progress with this game, I think. Other games had started it, but they weren't great. And now this has really opened the door for bigger possibilities. Like 5 years from now, crossplay should just be assumed, right? For everything.
It should be.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they took the risk. Like, it's a big risk for a AAA game to take, maybe. Because if it went horribly wrong, I'm surprised they took it. But then I suppose it also helps keep the game alive for longer. And historically, Call of Duties have been sort of three months high player count down to 6 months, where most of the people have dropped off, and then after 6, it's just the hardcore.
Yeah, I'd love to
feel
see
like
crossplay.
I feel like this one will probably last longer. Probably well into spring, almost summer, before you start to see a fall off.
Especially if they put out a BR game mode in the next month or so.
If they do that, 3 months in, or between 3 and 6 months, when the player count is possibly dwindling, they might bring a load of people back. And
so we'll hit 3 months at the end of season 1, right?
Yeah, I think so.
So we'll see how the player count is like when the next season starts. If it feels like, because I feel like if you log into PUBG now, like the people who are playing that still, like I would just get bodied in the.
I feel like that's what's going to happen when I play that game again.
Definitely.
I'm just going to get wrecked.
Definitely.
So I'm curious if that's also true of COD, but also the high time to kill is kind of helpful for that too.
Yeah, I have a couple thoughts. Do you think there should be different sets of achievements and different rank up for core versus hardcore? Like, you have 0 to whatever rank for your core gameplay, and then for hardcore you have to start again at 0 and work your way up through that.
Well, it doesn't like rank. That's just for your.
Sorry,
like,
I guess more like for
personal.
skin unlocks and things like that.
I'm glad. I think the skin unlocks. So having just done the SMGs and now doing the ARs and pistols and trying to do the skin unlocks they're gonna take years to get everything gold. I think if I had to do it on hardcore and core, then I'd probably just pick 4 weapons, one from each class that I like, and just play that.
Yeah, it's too hard to achieve if you have to do it twice. Yeah, it makes sense.
There's already so much to grind out. Like, I don't think they need another duplicate of it.
Yeah,
I think it's about 12 to 1500 kills to get a gun gold,
Wow.
If I look
Wow.
at my
That's cool.
guns.
I mean, in the last week, you have gotten like 4,000, so I don't think you have to worry about it. But
Yeah, and I've probably done about 3 to 4 guns gold.
in our weekly tournament. So for any of you listeners who want to join the Hot Drop Squad, download the companion app for Call of Duty, log into the app, go to ops, and you can search for the Hot Drop, one word. We are in second place this week with kills, with 6,494 kills. And Charlie, you are like 3,800 of those. So
Sweet.
Love it.
3775 right now. Second place, Dan, 712.
Hey. Damn.
Yeah.
I'm really glad Call of Duty took a shot at Crossplay, because if it needed to be a AAA title that would do it, because any other one that tried Crossplay just wouldn't be looked at and wouldn't have the player numbers to say, okay, they set an example for everyone else that it is achievable. Like,
Yeah,
it
had to be a AAA game.
Yeah. So I'm really
And
glad they did
it's a big risk, big reward, right? It could be a flop for the game. Not that they weren't selling ridiculous amounts of it anyway.
Mhm.
But still, they could have had a big flop on their hands and had to backtrack.
Yeah, and they did it the right way, like you're saying, like the aim assist. I don't even notice when I'm in a lobby with Xbox or PS4 versus PC. I don't even notice a difference in the players. They all seem the same to me, and that's exactly what you want.
Yeah, if anything, you're picking out slight differences in game style, or game sort of mechanics that they choose to do. Like the drop shotting is definitely big in console, in my opinion. But that's because you don't have to take your hands away from the aim. It's because historically it was a big thing for COD players. But yeah, I don't see someone and think, oh, this is going to be easy. There, it's Xbox. There'd be a walkover. And we play with a couple of sort of in a fairly regular, not team, but like I play with the same people quite a lot, and one of if not the best player in that team is console.
Is it you?
No.
He's doing both at the same time.
No, it's Liam. Liam smashes it at the moment.
Yeah, he's pretty insanely good.
Damn. Good stuff, guys.
Yeah, I feel like that's a good episode.
A great episode. It was fun to have you on, Charlie. Glad you decided to say yes to our invite, and also say yes to being one of our mods.
He said yes to the mess.
It's
been a pleasure.
Appreciate it.
What do we usually say at the end of these episodes?
We'll usually
Kiss
have a
your
hotline
mother.
bling.
Oh,
but
we used to have hotline bling, but none of you call the hotline number.
So that was taken away.
508-216-0006.
Yep.
I don't really know. Is that it?
I think that's all. Kiss your mothers.
Love you. Say it back.